In this tutorial video from InfluenceWP, I'm going to show you my exact process for taking a recorded video on YouTube and repurposing it as a blog post. And the reason that you want to do this is because there are people that like to learn from watching videos. There are people that like to read blog posts, for example. So you are meeting these people, these users, these customers, these potential customers, where they're at. Also, we're talking about two different search engines. We're talking about YouTube being a search engine. We're talking about, the web search engines, finding your written content, which in turn can have your videos also embedded in the written content. So this is important regardless of your role, whether you're a small business owner or you are a developer that's recorded tutorial videos, walkthroughs of your website, introductions to a product, whatever the case may be. This is a very awesome way to reach more people and just get more content out there about your business. Okay. So this is going to be a bit of insider baseball. The tool we're going to be looking at today is Rightblogger, which is a partner of InfluenceWP. I have been using Rightblogger before InfluenceWP was created last year. So I've been using it for quite a while now. And again, with InfluenceWP, we have no affiliate situation going on here. This is just me sharing a tutorial for a tool that I use and love. I use it every day. Okay. But if you like what you see in this video, you can go over to the InfluenceWP website, influencewp.com/deals, and look for an exclusive deal for Rightblogger. I think you're going to love it, especially after you see this video. And this is just barely scratching the surface of what this solution can do. I've done I believe it was an extended look video. Yeah, it wasn't a first look, I don't think. I think it was an extended look video where I really dove into a lot of the various tools that Rightblogger has. And I think at the time of this recording, they have like 90 something tools that you can use. So go check out that video if you want to see all of the tools that they have. But today we are going to look at a tool. If I go up under tools, actually I'll go to my account. So we'll go to, here we go. Account and video to blog post. So it's just as it sounds. You record a video on YouTube, you punch it into Rightblogger, let it generate some content, and it does some other really cool things too. But we're going to stay pretty high level here. You are going to see my entire process minus things like SEO. We're not going to get into SEOing and things like that in depth anyway. All right. One thing I'll draw attention to is you'll notice that video to blog post is in my favorites section. That's how often I use this. Rightblogger makes it really easy to favorite your tools, and they will appear right here on the left-hand side of your account. Okay, before we get to that, let's look at our projects. This is a very, very important piece to this. So as you see here, I already have a project named InfluenceWP, and it's integrated with WordPress. Let's go ahead and click into that project. We give the project a name. We put in our top level domain, our top level URL. And then down here, we have the options to learn from the website. So we're going to let Rightblogger's AI learn from our website and all of the content that's on it. We also have the option to email notifications. So Rightblogger can email you with ideas like keyword suggestions and other stuff for your project if you want. All right. Looking at the tool defaults tab, you can set your tone and writing style, whether it's a custom tone and writing style that you set up or the ones that are already pre-built into Rightblogger. You can set your desired language. You can choose to add internal links. So if you want Rightblogger to look at specific links within your website, you can add those, totally optional. Target audience, you can set that. I typed in WordPress agencies, WordPress professionals, WordPress DIYers, and WordPress users. So anytime this project is selected, it's going to be pulling from these tool defaults. So you don't have to keep specifying them over and over again. You also have the ability to do keywords in here. I don't do this very often. It depends on what I'm doing. So if the video, for example, is about WordPress automation, then yeah, I'll try to get like a long tail keyword in there. WordPress automation, something like WordPress automation tool for marketers, or something long tail like that. You could put something like that in there, and then Rightblogger is going to incorporate that in with your content. And then from the point of view, I do it first person plural, we, but you have other options here. You can, one of them is just automatic. Let Rightblogger make the decision for you. And then any additional instructions, focus on any specific topic that you have in mind. They put here as an example, include a mention of my dog, Ralph. You can put whatever you want in there. If you've ever used AI, there's a lot of flexibility in what you can put in there and what's going to come out. Down here, we have the ability with a creativity slider. So it's set in the middle by default, which is standard creativity. But as you slide it to the right, it gets to be more like flair, like more spicy. And then I was say that all the way to the left is kind of like more conservative, predictable type thing. All right. And then down here, we have the ability to click this add knowledge button. We can add URLs that aren't even on our website, with external URLs. We can add text. Just type in general source text here. We can put in like library items like documents, for example. So we can use all knowledge sources in your account. This will override any other selections. You can use any specific other sites. Like right here, I have my other changelog WP. You can pull from that project as well if you want additional projects. All right, so that is the knowledge sources. Looking lastly at the integrations tab, we are using WordPress. We just put in, again, our URL, our username, and we can put in we use an application password. So this is an important distinction. We're not talking about inputting your WordPress credentials. So this is way more secure. This is an app password that lives within your WordPress account. And you can set an app password on, based on specific individual applications. So it's way more secure. And then in the future, if like for whatever reason you stop using Rightblogger or whatever tool you have an application password assigned to, you can just simply remove that application password rather than resetting your WordPress user account, if that makes sense. The default status when we publish a post from Rightblogger from this tool, I have it set to draft mode, but you can set it to pending or published. I would recommend not publishing it right away because it's AI and you want to look at your content before you publish it. But we will look at that here in a bit. You can set an auto category for your project. So Rightblogger is going to try to look at all of your content and kind of try to determine what the category or categories should be, and the same with tags. Okay, you do have the option here if you can use Ghost, Webflow, or a webhook if you want. So, but we're using WordPress here. Going back to projects, you can add additional projects. You can add additional products within the same website. So maybe I want to create another project called InfluenceWP with Flair, for example. And then I could go into the project, and the only difference might be under tool defaults, I set the creativity level all the way to the right, most creative. Okay, that is just an option. So you can have projects, multiple projects for one website. Okay, super important. I recommend setting up projects before you start. But if even if you do or you don't, you can set on a per video basis. You can override or set specific settings on a per video basis. All right. Okay, let's check this out. So I'm going to go over to video to blog post. The very first thing I need to do is at the very top is choose a project, and I'm going to choose InfluenceWP. So it's going to pull in all of those default settings for us. And then I need to add the URL to the video on YouTube. Another really cool thing you can do that kind of slipped past me here recently is transcript. If you happen to have a transcript, you can drop the entire transcript into this box, and that works as well. All right, going over to the InfluenceWP YouTube channel, I know a video that I need to create, and that is for Hoverify. So we're going to create this one together. So I'm just going to come over here, find the video. I'm going to right click on this view as YouTube icon and just copy that link. Go back over to Rightblogger and paste this in. And we see that Rightblogger has identified the video. It's starting to pull it in. Moving on down, we have the ability to edit an outline. So Rightblogger is going to give us an outline for our post. I typically just leave this off. Embed video, I always leave this on because I want the embedded video to be a part of the blog post for those that do prefer to, or not prefer, I should say, but also want to watch a video in addition to reading about it. Okay, so they're reading through that blog post and they're like, oh yeah, I would like to watch the video too. So I always include that. External links, if you want Rightblogger to try to go out and grab external links, in this case, it might try to go out, it will actually go out and try to grab external links from Hoverify, like their homepage, their feature page. Basically, Rightblogger is going to look for trigger words that you say in your video. If you mention a company's about page, if you mention a company's pricing page, Rightblogger is going to go out and capture that. Okay, so you can use that. Article length, I always have this set to automatic, but you have a lot of options here. Micro form, short form, medium form, long form, very long form. You can set a primary keyword if you want. Again, this is going to pull from your project if you have it set globally, which I wouldn't do. But now on an individual project basis, video basis, I should say, I can come in here now and we're looking at Hoverify. So I could say visual web design tools for WordPress professionals, something like that, something that's keyword to the Hoverify product. All right, I'm going to leave that blank for this video, and we already have the point of view and everything set. This is all the stuff that we would set in that project, right? So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to generate. There's also a button up here I want to mention. You can upload audio and video as well. So you can put a link, transcript, text, upload audio or video. All right. We're going to go ahead and click generate here, and we're just going to let this roll live here together. And actually, you know what I'll do is I'll press pause and then we'll just come back. I'll let this generate. It generally only takes like a minute, but I'm gonna go ahead and pause this real quick. Okay, coming back, I would say that took about two to 2.5 minutes to do. Again, we are doing an article length of automatic. This is how long it takes, is going to be dictated by how long the article is and any other settings that you have. But 2 minutes to 2.5 minutes is nothing compared to what it would take to write a blog post from scratch, right? So keep that in mind. Down here, it's going to show us the number of words we have, the number of links, the number of images, words, characters, readability grade. Over here on the right, we have the ability to grab a link, and then we can send to our WordPress site, which we're going to do here in a bit. So this is the article tab that we are in by default. You can also go over here to the editor tab and actually edit your content before sending it over to WordPress if you want. I prefer to do this in WordPress, so I don't really touch the editor tab. And then SEO, you can jump in here and get SEO content from this content. So it's going to come in here and give you things like meta descriptions, meta titles, and stuff like that that you can then plug into your website if you wish. So we'll just let this finish up and do its thing here. So right now it's going through that entire post that Rightblogger created, and it's trying to figure out that SEO meta that it wants to use. So we'll give this just a second here. Okay, coming back, that took, 30 seconds, 45 seconds maybe to come back with this. But here they're going to give us meta title, a meta description, a permalink idea, and a primary keyword. Use these if you wish. Then there's also an SEO report that you can run, and it's going to kind of tell you like how Rightblogger sees this from an SEO standpoint. And then you can chat. So on the chat tab, you can get in there and chat with AI further about this particular blog post. If you want to make some changes, you can click on edit and run again. You're just going to specify different parameters, tell the AI to do some different things if you wish, run it again. And lastly, you have the ability to just reset the form and basically start over. All right, so I'm going to go back over to the article tab. And I'm going to jump down here to the bottom where it says send to. I'm just going to click on that. Before we do that, actually, you see the option here to copy. So you can copy all of the content to your clipboard. You can also hit this down arrow. And I don't know if it's on a lag. There we go. Download is a .docx, so a docx extension, so a doc. Copy as Markdown, copy as HTML, and copy as plain text. So Lots and lots of options here. I'm going to click on send to WordPress, and I'm going to choose my website, which is InfluenceWP. And as we see up here at the top, it says sending to WordPress. All right, there we go. It is successfully sent to WordPress. You can click open post. So if you are already logged into your site, it's just going to go grab that up. So let's go click on that link. So that's actually the front end. So we're going to go to the back end. It's more of like a preview link. Okay, so here in the back end, we've got the post. I'm just going to refresh the posts table. There we go. We have our blog post, and it is in draft mode. So at this stage, it's a matter of going into the blog post as you would any other time and editing it. Because it's AI, you want to make sure that it sounds like you. You want to add additional things. You might want to remove certain things. And then obviously you've got the SEO side of things. Get your categories in there, get your tags in there, get your keywords in there. And then of course the content, right? The copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go edit this post. And what I always do is I come down through here. I spend a good amount of time on here. This is not, time goes into this. This isn't using AI to do it all or even 90% of it. It's a huge time saver though, from having to come up with this from scratch. And it's using your own words. It's using your content, and it's just repurposing it, that's the beauty of it. So you don't have to come up with all this from scratch. You don't have to worry about, you're not plagiarizing anybody. You're not stealing anybody else's content. You're stealing from yourself in a good way, right? So you come in here and I always read this top to bottom. I check everything. But as you can see here, it includes the embedded video, which is really, really nice. And I just come down through. I make sure that the formatting looks good. What I want to be bolded is bolded. The headings, things of that nature. But I go through this with a fine tooth comb. Sometimes I add content. Sometimes I take out content. And obviously I come over here and I add a featured image, a unique featured image. Again, like I said, the categories and the text, all of the things that you're used to doing when you create an SEO optimized blog post with WordPress, you're going to do. Okay, but this is just a massive, massive time saver. And obviously, in this case, I'm able to use the block editor. So if I want to come in here and add elements, you can do that just as you would any other blog post, right? But anyway, that is the tutorial. It is a massive time saver. I use this tool every day, literally every day. And then when I'm not in this tool, you just go over to Rightblogger and you can see all of the tools that they have. There's tons. Blogging tools, tons of blogging tools, tons of SEO tools, tons of social media tools, tons of sales tools, and then tons of productivity tools. So this is one of those products that, again, not an affiliate situation here, that I literally use every day, all day, can vouch for it. I love it. Can't imagine working without it. So if you like what you saw in this video, go over to InfluenceWP, find the deals area, do a search for Rightblogger, and grab that exclusive deal. All right. Catch you guys in the next tutorial.